Hello everyone, welcome to the Ginger Snaps here. My name is Steven and today is another trailer review. I do have my thoughts on this trailer. It's a trailer I literally explained in the last one with my Candyman trailer. I did watch them when they first came out, just been very much behind. As you can obviously tell with what I have right beside me, this was the Spiral trailer, the next installment in the Saw franchise. This one has executive producer Chris Rock and also stars Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. So right off the bat, when I first heard about this, I'm not gonna lie, I gave it no fucking hope. Because when I think of Samuel L. Jackson and I think of Chris Rock, obviously comedies or Samuel L. Jackson doing pretty dramatic roles or whatnot, we don't really think of them in horror as much. And of course, now they're tackling the Saw franchise, which, as we all know, the Saw franchise was one of the biggest in the early 2000s or the late 2000s, and then of course we came out with Jigsaw. So watching this trailer, I still kind of have no faith in this fucking movie. I am a fan of the Saw franchise. It was essentially the only franchise that came out while I was born. I mean, obviously, like Halloween came out in the 70s and 80s, and obviously the 90s. Friday the 13th all in the 80s. Nightmare on Elm Street all in the 80s. So I was never really around for when any of these horror movies came out. So when Saw finally came out, I was, at first, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, this looks stupid until I saw the movie itself. And then I was hooked. Especially with that twist ending. And then, of course, saw 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way till the final chapter. And I went to those theaters every single time with my brother Justin. He is a massive fan when it comes to this franchise. This is one franchise he loves the most in the whole horror genre. But then, of course, Jigsaw came out, 7 years after the final chapter. So we never really thought that, with all the, especially if you do your history when it comes to horror, when there is ever a final, it never really was. I mean, Friday the 13th is guilty of that for 2 fucking films. And of course, Nightmare on Elm Street is also guilty of that as well. Now, Saw, at least they stayed dead for 7 fucking years. So at least give them props. Then Jigsaw came out, and honestly, the movie was kind of a little bit of a hook to me, but then the twist for it didn't really nail. Eventually, at some point, I am going to do the Saw franchise and review from the first all the way to Jigsaw, leading up to Spiral, because I will see this movie. Obviously, I'm going to see it with my brother, but I am still, from the looks of this fucking trailer, I am still not on board. It doesn't even feel like a prequel. It feels like it's going to be a copycat. It's going to be a copycat killer who's taken over the Jigsaw lore, and I feel like it's going to be a different puppet. It's not going to be Billy over here. And, man, I don't know, man. I'm not sold on this. But, for the horror genre itself, I am still going to give it its dues. I'm going to sit there and be like, you know what? I'm going to go watch it. And I know my brother, he's going to want to watch it. I've already talked to him about it with the trailer review, and he has already said that it doesn't matter. He's still going to go fucking see it no matter what. So, I mean, fuck. I'm on that with him too. It comes out in May, but I don't know if we're going to be going to a theater anytime soon. So, but other than that, like I said, the trailer, it was a massive miss for me. Maybe this is going to be that one instance where I'm going to want to watch the second trailer because there needs to be more. I need to see more. I didn't really see much of a trap in this trailer, except maybe right at the end where you see someone looks like they're in a trap, and then you see Chris Rock holding a hacksaw. But what I mainly see is the aftermath of the trap. So, I'm starting to think that this whole movie is going to be they get to the crime scene after a trap has happened, and that's where they're going to try and figure it out who the fuck did this, and then eventually at some point the traps will eventually show up in the movie. I mean, that would suck. I already know John Kramer's not going to be in this fucking movie. I already know that. So, yeah, I'm still not on board. I really ain't. But when it comes to all the history of the Saw franchise, some of the films kind of disappoint half the time. But I stayed optimistic when it came to Jigsaw, and there's a lot of hits and a lot of misses with it. But this one, I don't know. I feel as if it's not going to be a good hit. It's going to be a massive miss. The one thing I do know about this was originally that it was supposed to take over the October time frame, because obviously every Saw, as we all know, as the franchise, came out in October. Especially Jigsaw, it came out in October. And of course, this year, 2020, they were going to plan to do an October release, but then they obviously moved it to May. A lot of people have said that, well, it's probably because, a lot of people are not going to have faith in this and they want to just get it out there as soon as possible. But I honestly feel like, and a lot of people feel this too, is because I don't think it wants to compete with Halloween Kills. Because, Saw always comes out in October, but once a Halloween film comes out in October, every other horror movie kind of just pushes aside. So other than that, Spiral's trailer reaction for me, my thoughts on it, like I said, I'm not quite on board. You have to do a lot of persuading with me when it comes to it. I will still see it, but I still don't have any faith in it. And anyways, that's been it for me on this. This has been the Ginger Snaps here. My name is Steven. I will check you guys out later.